Morning guys, Clayton with West Texas Gearheads here. Today we're working on this Oreion reeper, the 800. Doing some maintenance on it. Got all new bushings for the rear, got a lot of play there. Doing an upgraded upper ball joint situation for our worn out ball joints. Also coming up, we have a Mustang 2 rack and pinion. I didn't go with the one everybody else uses, but nonetheless, we're gonna make it work. It's cheaper, probably more labor intensive. This is an example of the new upper ball joint, turn it into a Heim setup. Got a drill at the knuckle, got a sleeve to go in there, some grade 8 bolts. Hopefully lasts a little longer than the original. This thing only has, I think, 650 miles maybe on it, and it's all wore out. Rack and pinion's trashed. CV joints, of course. Gonna replace some boots. I've already done some welding on the frame to remount the body mounts. Just had some scrap steel laying around and made it work. I mean, this thing's been sun-baked. The guy had it for me, left it outside. It's not in its best shape, but nonetheless, she still runs good. I've already done a little exhaust mod. Just some 12-inch glass packs, which be changing up some because it is loud, to say the least. I've already done, which I can get you more information on, a Prius electric power steering upgrade that I just fabbed together myself. Not a big deal, with just shop tools and a little bit of ingenuity. If you want more information on that, I've got pictures and stuff from that, no video. Also, been working on getting a little more power. Got an AMR 500. Everybody else has used a 300, but we're making a 500 fit. You can see I had to redo the motor mount. It's missing a bolt right now, but I'll get that fixed. To make it fit in there, bought a bracket from the Dub shop, which I thought would work perfectly. However, didn't work at all. So I chopped it up and made it work. I like the tensioner setup on this deal. You just get it tight and then tighten that idler down to where you want it. Also running a dyno jet setup to control our fueling, air-fuel ratio, and all that fun stuff. A lot of people use water injection, but we're going to try to use this intercooler with a fan to control intake temps. It's pretty thick. Have to find a place for it. Mount this fan. Gonna have to shroud it since it's a little too big, but I figure the more airflow, the better. Let's see, we got our little sleeves for our Heims. Some new metal zip ties, fittings and whatnot for our piping. Waterproof relays. Some new injectors. We're going to try to not use this cold start injector to control our fuel. We're going to try to just get a little more fuel in there. Suncoast hooked me up with some of these, and the rest of them came from dealership in Grand Prairie, Texas. Also going to try to get the doors back on. The doors have been off this thing. Some of the hinges are broke, sheared off, rusted up, not so bueno. So we'll have to retap some holes, chase some threads, get them working. See what else we got for you. Oh, with the dyno jet, we're also putting in line a map sensor so it can sense the boost pressure and fuel accordingly, hopefully. You know, we bought this thing just to try out the brand. I really need a 4-seater for my family, but we decided to get this one for cheap and feel her out. Really liked the manual transmission of the Reapers and the manual locking differentials. And I figured, you know, I know it's super foreign, but given it's running a 3-cylinder Cherry, just like the John Deere Gators, I figured they might be onto something. They're proving me wrong, as every time I drive this thing I got to work on it. But word to the wise, keep all these joints greased up well every ride. They need to be greased, because all they are is a steel bushing, which my steel bushings are wore out, and some plastic bushings for the outside. So without grease, they don't stand a chance. With grease, yeah, maybe they'll last a little longer. But that's what we got going on in the shop. We'll have to get this bumper off, and looks like we're going to be cutting it off, as the original owner decided to weld it on. But yeah, we'll get it going on. If you want to see more, let us know. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. A little update for you guys. Started tackling the rear bushings first. However, after I got it apart, I realized that it might not be the bushings and the sleeves themselves as much as the knuckle. The bolt hole through the knuckle is oversized, probably from the factory. So we re-greased it, tightened her up, and we'll get that cleaned up, and that part will be done. Next, we went ahead and zipped front wheel bearing off, wheel bearing assembly rather. Doesn't look bad, minus I don't see a seal in there. I guess it seals against the boot. But overall, there's not a whole lot of play there. There's probably more than I would like, but probably not going to get much better than what it is. So, real easy, cotter pin, big nut on the axle shaft, bolt there. I actually had to separate that with a chisel in the knuckle. I was surprised at that. That looks like it's in decent shape. Haven't found an aftermarket solution for it yet, but I'm sure I'll have to. So we've got the axle shaft over here in the vise. Got the old boot off, and going on with the new boot. Bought this little guy off Amazon, little zip tie tightener, and to my surprise, the CV joint's actually in good shape. Still have plenty of grease in it, a little bit of water, so I'm probably going to clean it out, get some marine grease in it, and get her back together and do the other side. After that, we'll tackle the upper ball joint modification. On the passenger side, drill out the knuckles while they're off and get that back together.